I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we did not have any minutes as such. However, each of you have a copy of the comments that were made from the two town hall meetings. And I don't think there's any need to approve them. We've gone through them and reviewed them, so they stand as submitted. Each of you had a chance to review it, and we made some changes, which I have incorporated. Those remarks are going to be submitted by Wally. They'll be given to the Township Board. We'll discuss them in a study session, and then after they'll get their comments, and we'll publish it to everybody. And then we'll put it on the website, so on and so forth.
So you have 7 copies here?
Yes, I have, yeah. Okay. All right, are there any revisions or changes anybody wants to make to the agenda? I just have one item. As you know, Tony Gray's assignment has changed, and which means that he will not be doing all the investigation work that he normally does for the open space. And I met with Lorenda, and what'll happen is if something happens with the open space, either I will call her, or if you see something on your open space areas that needs to be corrected, let me know, and I'll get in touch with Lorenda, and Lorenda will call TNT to have it corrected. And it's my understanding, well, that's going to be for about a 6-month trial basis.
It is it's intended to go for 6 months with him totally working on enforcement, and that's a Township Board desired direction.
Okay.
The township has had fits and starts at a blight ordinance. Woody would be the guy who asked the most about that, truly. And he's right. You know, we talked about it. So one of the first steps is to devote somebody to it. The board has allowed the change in emphasis for him to go for 6 months. And let's see what happens, because the blight on the island needs to be addressed. Everybody fully agrees that it needs to be addressed, but everybody says that he should do it, not me. So now we got somebody out there who's going to do it. I have always talked up the fact that this committee will be a great help in addressing blighted situations, especially where encroachments and trash are concerned. And I'm not quite sure as to how that's taken, but I won't stop saying it. You know, that's where I'm at.
Okay, we'll see how this plays out. Lorenda has agreed to be the point person. In other words, if she sees something, she might take action, or if Art, if you see something, or Bert, or any of you, you can get in touch with me or Lorenda, and depending on what the situation is. And
This has put a burden on everybody in the township to pick up some of the other things that Tony used to do.
oh yes,
But it needs to be done. Let's see what happens. If he can generate results, then maybe that'll mean that maybe somewhere down the road we might have a part-time or even a full-time person devoted to just that, and perhaps Tony can go back to his other duties.
well, we fully understand what the situation is. Okay, so if there's no more changes to the agenda, let's go on with the reports. And the first one is the township. Wally, could you tell us if there's anything that we need to know, or any
If you watch the board meetings, they've been rather unexciting lately, and that's a good thing. There is some activity going on. to make the township a little prettier, we have finally authorized the purchase of a new 60-inch mower, and that mower should be purchased
Is it
this
for
week.
here, for the,
It
for
will
the
be,
base?
it'll be for only for the bike paths and the downtown development authority, and that's it.
Okay.
So running the bike paths with a brand new mower should be a little bit more efficient and make us look a little better. It's not to be used for anything other than that. The old mower was 10 years old, and parts are hard to get for 10-year-old mowers, and it's worn out. So every time you fix something on it, something else breaks. It's time. The bike path has monthly meetings just like this group does, and some of the things that they're working on, I see that I'm supposed to give you a brief report on it. We're working to get the fountain installed.
Ah,
And we've picked a site. If you go out to Midway and Grow, on the northwest corner, there's a fire hydrant, and immediately to the north of that fire hydrant should be the place where the fountain's water supply will be connected,
okay.
the pit.
Where will it be located again now?
Grow and Meridian on the northwest corner, right next to the bike path.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
that's down by us.
Yeah, it kind of spreads the fountains out. This is a nice fountain, if you've not seen it, down on the first floor.
Yeah,
Have you seen it? It's got a bottle filler on it.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's also got a pooch filler. So-
Yeah.
And yeah, that's going to be friendly to a
That'll be
lot of
nice.
people. We're kind of excited. The bike path put a big burden on themselves by buying that fountain. They had a choice, and they picked a Cadillac. They picked a really classy fountain, but it cost a lot of money. And now we're working to sell bricks to pay for the cost of installation. And the bricks have been a little bit slow, but I think they'll pick up now once we get them in place. As far as the paths themselves, they're in good shape this year. The work that was done last year has been beneficial. Many people have said it's a good thing. Now, the other thing that ties us together with bike paths is hard paths and soft paths. And you are the soft path people.
Yes, we
You
are.
and the Great Lakes Nature Conservancy. There's benefit to both. There's good uses for both, and it's important to promote all of them. I asked Cliff the other day to take a little bit of south path, so I keep saying south, pardon me, soft path, and dump a load of wood chips down at the east end of the new horse mill bike path. It's kind of mushy and unfinished down there, and I don't know how well thought out it was to build that end, but the chips will make it a little bit better for people to get out of that corner without getting
Somebody
muddy
dumped
out of
a
it.
lot down there.
Hmm?
There was a lot dumped down there by Horse Mill. Mounds of it. Who distributed
well, we'll
that?
talk about that when Pat talks
Okay.
about the trail, yeah.
Okay, so that's really about all I have to tell you about bike paths.
Okay, just in response to your request, I got in touch with Tom, and I'll make sure that he dumps a load. Now, you want it right at the end of the cement portion of the path, or
You
the
know, the asphalt portion.
asphalt portion?
There's a sign there and it says road ends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's
Where
where
they
you
have
want
that barricade.
I love signs like that that say road ends. I like them as much as coffee is hot, you know?
Okay. So you want to spread out in that whole
And
area?
enter at your own risk. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay.
I had a
Okay.
question, Wally, about coal tar
We
sealants on
haven't
the
used
bike
it and we
path.
won't use it.
Okay, that's
Your
good to know.
answer, you brought that up, and I'm trying to think of who else brought it to my attention. It was,
I know Liz Hugel and the Conservancy folks have been
yeah.
following up on that.
At any rate,
Okay,
we haven't used it.
okay,
You can tell the coal tar emulsion. You can't stand near it.
right.
If you get near it, it'll burn your skin. The vapors coming off of it.
Okay.
The stuff we use is an emulsion, and it's a good emulsion. It does a nice job.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much. Bert, what's happening with the Conservancy?
Basically, all I have to report is the summer program's coming up. And the next one is called, it's a kids program, wetland wildlife program, Sunday, July 13th at the nature area. on East River. And then so every Sunday, the nature area is open, and the Conservancy staffs it with volunteers. And that's the land that's owned by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, part of the Gibraltar Bay unit, as well as part of the airport property. But then there's special programs. Natalie Ray is the naturalist who does the educational programs there. Can we put this sign on?
Yeah, I think so, sure.
Okay. Here, let me give it to you if you know how to.
Have to take your luggage off it.
Oh, well, if it's,
And your glasses.
maybe we can do this at the end, Cliff, if it's,
You're suggesting he needs a porter?
Something.
Just leave it right there.
oh, okay, oh, good. All right, thanks.
You want to tell me to turn
So-
it on?
I don't know whether it's on,
I don't think it
let me
is.
double check.
You all have a website where that's on.
I was on the website, and I know the Sundays are, and the newsletter's being worked on. I'm not sure if the events is up to date on there. It
Okay.
probably is, but I wasn't sure. And plus, we have, the extra publicity doesn't hurt.
There you go, Bert.
Okay.
Be on a big screen.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Burton.
That's about it, just
Okay,
summer on the island, lots of
okay.
stuff going on.
All right, as far as recreation is concerned, Leah promised that she was going to have a substitute here tonight. I've got to do something about our liaison with the record department. Leah's schedule conflicts with meetings here, so I'm going to formally ask for another replacement from the rec department. We need to maintain communications with the rec department because there's maybe issues coming up which are both interests. So who's the chair of the rec commission?
Wally Catcher.
Wally Ketcher?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Liaison is Tom Malvesto.
So we just
In fairness to Leah, she does do a pretty good job of reporting on the rec meetings about what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of them. She pitches for us quite a bit. She has
What would you-
mentioned some of the things that about the two town meetings and things like that. And she's informed if she's not present.
Well, she calls me every time, lets me know. So maybe let me step back a little bit. Should I just hold off for a while?
No, I don't think so. I'm saying that I just want to present it that Leah is a very busy lady,
Yes.
and yeah, we're all busy, and she volunteers a lot, just like
Okay.
all of you do.
The only reason is because communication is a two-way street. I'd like to know what's going on with the rec commission in terms of how it interfaces with the open space
Well,
program.
you're going to have a new recreation director rather soon,
Okay,
with Tim resigning, and that's a big loss.
it is.
There's some
Big
whopping
loss.
big shoes to
Big
fill.
loss.
But, life goes on.
Yeah.
People come and people
He was
go.
one
and
dedicated individual, there's no question.
maybe we'll get lucky and get another good one and carry right on, and maybe he'll come up with new things too. But, we'll find that out.
Okay.
I know that they're going through a pretty stringent hiring practice. They're not going to just fill a spot. They're going to find somebody to do their very best. And I hope we get a real winner. But when that happens, that will also have an effect on the rec commission too. They're going to get to know each other. And maybe Leah is a stability at this point, but then again, maybe she would like to step away. Right? The best thing to do is to talk to Leah.
Okay, I'll make it a point to talk to her. I'm not going to do it on the phone. I think face-to-face conversation would help out. She's a very dedicated person.
She's just good people.
Okay. Call. Neat. Okay. Next item is the town hall meeting results. First of all, I want to thank all of you here for participating in the town hall meetings, and I also appreciate the input that you gave me on the trying to make some sense of some of the results and put it into a format. Our intent, and this is up for discussion, we'll talk about it tonight, is Wally is going to present a copy of the results to the township board, to them to look at ahead of time, and I'm going to sit down with, I'd like to sit down with them in a study session to go over some of the things to make sure that they understand what we're doing, why what we plan to do, what some of our opinions are and some of our concerns, and do that ahead of time so that they have complete understanding and some input of what we're doing before we go to the residents at large with this. I think it's only the right thing to do.
My comment to Cliff was that the next study session will be at 6:30 on the 14th of July, which is our next board meeting. And that is going to take complete streets, which impacts you also.
Unfortunately, I have a commitment on the 14th of July.
Well, you won't be in there as a part of a study session about this program. What I'm saying is that next session is tied up. So you'd have to be
I'm
on
sorry,
the one
okay.
after that.
After that,
And I'm
okay,
trying to
that's
get
fine.
that
Is
done.
that on the streets?
Hmm?
Is that on the streets?
Complete streets?
Is that on the streets? That study session, is that on the streets?
I mean, is
That
it
they're gonna be
public?
doing? Huh?
Are you
He
asking?
means, he says about the roads.
Roads. Is that the study sessions
No,
on the
the
roads?
Complete Streets program is a program that talks about design and use of thoroughfares, not only for cars, but for bicycles, for walkers, for skaters, and it is it's a brief resolution that is just a guideline. It helps communities to have somewhat uniform ways of dealing with issues. If you go to the Complete Streets policy, you might find a section there that deals how you mark a bike path.
Mm-hmm.
You might find a section in there that shows different sorts of stopping areas, not for cars, but for kids, teaching them, how to, and what devices they should be paying attention to. So a kid that goes from here to Trenton to Wyandotte is familiar. The kids that roller skate are bike paths. There's a lot of inline skaters out there and a lot of,
They weren't supposed to use that for roller skating or skateboards.
Really?
why not?
No. Well, you go back and look at the original record, because it really is hazardous for them and as well as anybody else who is on a bike path.
We share the road.
But people can walk on it and have strollers and everything.
Yeah, but not fast-moving semi-motorized vehicles.
No, there's no motorized.
No,
Not
I
at
know,
all.
but semi-motorized, but you got your body motorized, going like the devil. And if you want
There's
to,
a
you want to get a feel for what I'm talking about, you just go down the four corners and just watch what happens at that location.
Well, you got bikes going down there all the time.
Well, you got bikes and you got people on skateboards, and you also got kids with. It looks like there's some kind of a roller skates with I don't know whether they got wooden wheels on them or what they got, but they go fast,
Wow.
and they go zipping across that road. This is why it's kind of important that there should be some rules and regulations that everybody that uses that bike path, for whatever reason, if they're allowed to use it, that they do it with some care so that they don't endanger themselves as well as the people who are on the
Well,
bike
I
path.
think Complete Streets addresses a lot of that. It gives you a mood,
Yeah,
all right?
okay.
That says,
Understand.
if you're gonna ride a bicycle during 35 miles an hour, you don't belong on the bike path. Ride alongside the fast lane, or on the curb lane. But if you're gonna go for a leisurely stroll on your old, or a leisurely ride on your old Schwinn, you can go there. Why not?
Well, see, you
Join
can-
the joggers and join the,
Well, you got a combination of things that make it so that it is a potential source of injury, and that is that you have people who are walking their dogs, and they want to got them on a leash, and then you got people riding bicycles that, you know, are going to try to get around this person that's got this dog on a leash. Then you've got this other group where you've got on skateboards or things like roller skates that are going, and some of them go pretty fast. When
That's true.
When I say they go fast, I mean, if you know, they in other words, they can't stop like that. If an emergency comes up, they just can't. They can't correct it just that fast. So there should be some
I can't include
guidelines.
myself in that group because I can't stand up that long on roller skates.
Well,
How about you, buddy? When's the last time you were out on your skateboard?
I don't think I've ever been out in a long time, ever.
But some
Okay.
of these kids, you can't believe what they can do with a skateboard.
Yeah,
I mean, they can jump on a skateboard.
They're out in
The-
front of the park, the vacant stores over here on Macomb and Meridian right now on skateboards.
Well, what they do is they'll move a park bench, or they'll move a bench out, and then they'll come down the bicycle path, and then they'll jump and go over top of the, you know, not over top of
happens
the
if
whole
they
one,
don't
but
make
over
it?
the side.
What happens if they don't make it?
Well, they
Hell,
flop.
ding the
And
bench.
they end up on a video on Tash
Then you have
9.0.
911.
America's Funniest
All I'm
Man.
pointing out is that we've got very ingenious efforts made by some people to do things that are kind of dangerous.
You probably see a lot because you spend so much time.
Yeah,
right
that's,
there.
I see, and it really scares me because if you're goofy enough to do what some of them do, I say, well, okay, you're going to get hurt. But that's not the one I'm worrying about. I'm worrying about the one who gets involved in it that didn't do anything. I mean, they were just happened to be there.
Yeah.
They were in the wrong place at the improper time. And they get shocked. But anyway, I think I'm glad that they're addressing that. This is something that can be.
I think,
Can be helpful.
I think if you review the Complete Streets resolution, you'll see what the sentiment is behind it. It's a good sentiment. One of the northern Oakland County communities just adopted a Clean Streets policy today. So many people are buying into Complete Streets. And it's just saying, we just want to understand and have a common set of rules.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Is that what it's called? Complete Streets?
Complete Streets.
COMPLETE?
COMPLETE streets.
I'm glad to
Okay.
see that.
Woody, the wood cutting and dump the junk for this
Yeah,
fall?
probably October, middle October, on dump the junk. I talked to the two ladies, try to pick a thing for them to send the money to.
Okay,
I'll let them decide where it's gonna go.
okay.
Pat came up with a good idea. We'll put the sign on the outside of the metal box saying, this is where the money's going.
Oh, okay. That
Good
sounds
idea.
like a
And
good
once it gets to the box, Cliff, it doesn't come back out.
Okay.
No judgment calls.
Okay.
Understand?
Okay. All right.
He's trying to send you a message. He's
No,
working at
you
it.
know, Woody has a
there's good
habit of
stuff
not
in
coming
there.
to the point, right? Okay. What about the wood cutting, Woody?
That's gonna be also probably in November when the leaves
Okay.
go down, and then they can come in. We've had two places on Park Lane, one by the Presbyterian Church,
Okay.
and then there's one up by my house, between the second and third house. There are some logs or trees in there that would be nice to cut them up and
Okay.
get them out.
Is that where you think we should have it?
I think you should clean that up, plus the one right by the Presbyterian Church.
So we'll have it in two locations?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna do it all wide. We'll take it outside too. People from
Profile it.
outside of the building, out of the Roselle.
Right.
Because I'm tired of going, we have good cutters that come, but we don't have enough.
Okay.
And we need enough to clean it up.
So Woody, if the leaves are down, how are people going to know what's a healthy tree and what's a dead tree to cut?
Most of the trees are down, you're gonna cut.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're
You're
not,
not
you're not
cutting
gonna
any
let
trees.
them cut any trees, are you?
No trees are standing.
Yeah, that's what I say.
It's only
Trees
down
have to
timber.
be laying on the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you take a look at the ones that are sitting over there by the Presbyterian Church, somebody went in there and cut them all down. I don't know who did, but they're down. And they're waiting to have other people cut them up and take them out.
Okay.
And there's one up on Park Lane, it's the same way.
When is that gonna be?
Huh?
When are you gonna cut? November,
In
October?
November sometime. I don't know right the date now.
Should we contact Trenton?
We're just gonna put it in the News Herald
Okay,
and area wide it. And,
okay,
they go through the same procedure of have to come over to Grosse Ile and sign the forms and do all this stuff. So as everything's nice and legal and we know what the heck's going on.
okay.
We don't want them in there. And there's other places that they're behind the fire hall. There's another place, but I like to get these two places cleaned up first.
Okay,
Because the fire hall, you're gonna have to do it, you're gonna have to cut them, and then you're gonna have to come back in and take them out. You can't be dropping them.
so we're
Right
talking, again, two places,
Well, I'm not gonna do that one behind the fire hall. We're just gonna work on Park Lane,
Park Lane and north of.
north of Horse Mill and south of Horse Mill.
Gotcha, okay, all right. Okay, and, okay, we'll just put it on our calendars then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably, what is it, is it like the 18th or 11th? You got a calendar?
October?
Yeah.
October 11th? Let me see.
We usually have it on a Saturday, don't we, Woody?
Which one?
The woodcutting.
Saturday, yeah, Saturday and Sunday usually, but we're gonna try to, you know, if we have enough turnout, we can do both days.
Okay,
And we had some people come back that did it on Saturday, and they came on Sunday, and
Yep.
they cut forever.
The Saturdays in October are the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th.
Okay,
well, October 8th,
It'd be the 11th or the 18th, one or the other.
we're talking about the woodcutting, that's for November now.
Oh, yeah, that's November. No, the 11th or the 18th is gonna be for dump and jump.
Okay. Now, don't forget that there are hunters around here. And November 15th is a Saturday. That's the opening day of deer season. So, but people that hunt typically cut wood too, so you
Oh.
don't,
You
That's
probably
true.
want to make it the,
you know, make it the end of October, so that you don't interfere with people that have
They
to.
shouldn't be shooting at animals.
Well, they're not
No,
shooting
just
the
in
animal,
terms
they're
of
not
being
gonna be-
away.
But
they're
they'll
not
be
gonna
away
here to-
shooting.
Okay, well, I
You
mean,
could do it
if-
November.
we can do it the first part of
8th and
November.
9th or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
First week in November.
1st and
November
8th of
8th,
November are, you know, good days too.
We
Anything
don't wanna go
after,
too late, because then we get into the rainy seasons and
Yeah, that's
snow
true.
seasons. I don't want anybody slipping and falling out there. Just trying to clean it up, not make a disaster.
that's why I was saying, you know, don't go any further than November 15th.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
November 15th, you
Oh, I
won't
saw
see
some,
anybody.
I saw three bucks. One was an 8-pointer, then a 6-pointer, and a 4-pointer. They're all walking in the same way.
well, Woody, thanks for your work on this thing.
Well, we're gonna try to get some more done. Piecemealing is not getting well.
Yeah,
We're not getting it done.
yeah.
No, I think if you open it up to the greater public and don't try to restrict it to Grosse Ile, there's a lot of folks out there that would like to get free firewood.
I know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And,
And it's better in the fall to do it than in the spring, because there's only about a couple people that want to do it in the spring, and that never happens. We open it up and
yeah, waste your
nobody
time.
shows up. I mean, a few people show up. Okay, so we're gonna try to do it, and if we have to do it 2 days to get a better deal on it, we will do that.
Okay, good.
Because right now, the way we're working, we'll be here 20 years from now trying to clean it up.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks, Woody. One of our regular items that we do have each month is the trail update. Pat, can you talk to us about the wildlife sanctuary?
Oh, yes, it's looking really good. All the mulch is laid and spread. There's an edging with logs around it. We had 2 areas, or one, did we end up with putting the drainage pipes?
Two.
2 areas where we put the drainage pipes, so you won't have swamp when you walk through it.
Who
We-
spread it?
TNT,
TNT.
yeah.
Oh, they spread it.
Yeah.
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 And we extended the trail where you come in from Horse Mill. There used to be a side trail going toward Thoroughfare that didn't have any mulch or anything on it, but being that it showed that it was being used so much, we mulched that area too. So now you actually have 2 branches on the trail, which gives you more time in the woods, which is really nice. It's nice and wide. There's a stump that was put off of Mortland so that you can't get a motorized vehicle in, but you can get in it both ways. We still have the one litter can on Mortland. And the bench is in. No litter is on the trail as of this time. And I've met a lot of people on that trail who are happy with it, so at least that one is,
We hear
There.
a lot of things about the trails, and they're 99 to 1 positive.
Yeah.
People appreciate the opportunity. There are folks that are afraid to walk in the woods, if you will, all right? And if you're afraid to go into the woods, you don't belong there, all right?
Right.
Trust your judgment. But there is still an opportunity, and especially here in this community, to get a good look at nature in a little bit of an improved path, okay? And I don't think that it's ruined anything. I think it's enhanced it. People get out there and they've come to us and said, gosh, is that pretty?
I think it's a gem on the island. And I'm planning on getting the tree signage up probably in August sometime.
Good stuff. Good
I gotta
stuff.
get that rock info from
Yeah,
my
I need
friend.
my rock. I need my
Oh, you're
rock.
still looking for a geologist?
No, I have one, and she's gone out there twice, and I ran into her in a Mexican restaurant.
It's the big
she
thing
said,
that's
"Oh, yeah."
right on the side of the
Yeah,
trail.
Keep forgetting.
What happened to- I don't
Oh, the
see it.
sign hasn't been fixed.
Yeah,
That was
it's
wrecked when
taken
they
out,
did
right?
No, it's still there,
Was it?
busted.
Was that the one with the split?
Yeah,
4x4?
that's the one that was broken when the bike path went in.
That one should be fixed.
Yeah, it's not fixed.
Not yet, no.
I gotta go out and look at something on the bike paths anyway, so I'll look at that.
Okay.
Maybe I can.
And when they get a little bit bigger, one of the garden club ladies is growing redbud trees for us. And when they're big enough, we're going to put them at the entrance. So then we'll have the redbud trees, then we'll have all the spring flowers that we planted there previously. So it'll start looking pretty nice.
Have any of you, just as an aside, since we are talking about greenways, had any issues with deer eating your flowers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I found something that works. 2 things. Number 1, there is a repellent that's sold by Liquid Fence, and I've been using it. And they don't bother my flowers.
Does it smell like blood?
No, it smells like rotten eggs till it dries.
Okay.
And after it dries, it doesn't have an aroma, but I
What
guess
about when it rains?
it really tastes bad. And I've been putting it on like once a week. I bought a gallon. I mean, it costs $22 a gallon.
Yeah.
And I'm getting 6 or 7 applications out of it around my house, and I go all the way around it.
Yeah.
It works, yeah, but so when it rains, does the aroma come back?
No.
No.
The other thing that works tremendously is I fought deer against the tomato plants every year. And it came out one morning last year, and my tomato plants were all that tall. Put stakes up, 7 or 8 foot stakes, and tie fishing line. Instead of netting or instead of fencing, just use some 8 or 10 pound test fishing line and go back and forth and zigzag. They get in there and they touch that and they back off. They're afraid of it.
What I use, and I use it all over the place.
Do you-
It's a product made by Messina. It's called Deer Stopper,
Yeah.
and it's expensive. It's concentrated form. It costs $29 for about a quart, but it makes quite a few gallons. And you put it on, and it's good. It's good. Takes about 3 to 4 weeks between application. But out here at the Memorial Garden at the northeast corner and the northwest corner and the southwest corner, as well as the new plantings at the northeast corner. All you have to do is put it on and stay away from it. It's called Deer Stopper.
Deer stock road.
Yes, made by Messina,
Well, that's-
MES.
The point is
And-
there are things out there that work.
Yeah, things that work. But the nice part about this is that, well, once it's dry, it's good for about 3 to 4 weeks. Now, what you don't realize is that 3 to 4 weeks goes pretty fast. You know, if you don't keep it in mind that it's only going to last that long, and you don't get at it before, then you're going to say, I missed it. I should have been.
And that's when all the plants
should've
are
put it on."
missing.
I put, it's almost 7 foot
Oh, yeah.
Sitting right in the front porch.
fencing all the way
Came
around
off from
our
work,
advertising.
this big old
in the
doe,
back.
just sitting right in front of my neighbor's porch.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They are pretty.
They are
What'd
pretty.
you say, Cliff?
Okay.
They eat a lot.
That's
It's about a
insane.
7-foot fence, and it's the deer netting,
Oh,
and it's about, the netting's about maybe an inch square. It's black, but black post, you can hardly see it, and hopefully it'll keep the deer out.
I'm hoping that my fishing line works. So far, so good.
Well,
That's great.
It's supposed to work.
Yes, I've heard that before too. The only thing is that it keeps the deer out, but also is tough on you. You know, it's in your way when you would try to get in there too, because if you string the I call it catgut, you string it around, it makes it tough on you.
Well, I put a gate in mine, a little.
So there's another product made by Remington, but Joey Forciarelli won't let me use it.
Why?
It's 30-06.
No.
Okay, Daryl Filarski and his wife Ellen and I took a trip along the trail in Manchester Woods. Now, that's a trail that starts right in front of the Meridian School. And it goes all the way back to, I call it, there's a creek bed, and then it goes to the left. And we went through there, and that trail needs a lot of work to upgrade. We cannot, I don't feel we can upgrade it to the level that it is on the Wildlife Sanctuary Trail, but there's a lot of work to be done there. And the only issue that I have is that we, as a group, decided that we wanted to extend that trail out to East River. As of this point in time, I cannot find an area where we can where we can do that. There is a bridge that goes across that creek. It's an old stone bridge, and I'm not quite sure whether it's on open space property or whether it is on private property, which is owned by the group of residents on Manchester. So I'm talking to a gentleman. I have an email going to a gentleman on Manchester to see exactly who belongs to that bridge, and if it's on open space, we can go down to continue the trail on the west side of the creek that goes across the bridge, go across the bridge and then out to East River. But that trail would be more than 1,000 yards long, so it's a long trail. So we're still working on it, and once we get it, once I get that issue resolved, either we're going to go out to East River, or else if it belongs to a private individual, we can't use it, and we'll have to end the trail when it goes to the creek. So I hope to get that resolved this
Can't
week.
go around it?
The creek?
You can't go around when where you're gonna try to go through?
No, that creek runs from one side of the open space area all the way across. It goes
Okay, but do you have to go over the bridge?
either that or else you have to go, we either have to build a bridge across the creek, or else you have to go through the creek.
And how big is the creek?
The creek is about as, that wainscoting that you see in back of you, Woody,
The what?
the wainscoting, it's about that deep, and it's a V.
oh, wow.
It's a, and I would say it's about maybe, I would say 15 feet wide.
Does it have a name? I mean, is it a real creek? Or is it just a real low area where all the water goes.
It's a V. It looks like a V, okay. And it was pretty low now. There isn't any water running through it, but it's muddy down at the bottom, and I would predict that in the springtime, early spring, that when the water flows, it's pretty full. But there's a way, we have to get across, in order to get the East River, we have to get a way to get across that creek. This bridge is the only way to do it, as I said, so I'm still working on that. And also, what we want to do is make sure that we, if we do expand that trail, we make it wide enough so that you can get an emergency vehicle back there. I think we can on the Wildlife Sanctuary Trail.
Yep,
That's
you can get
what- we can get a truck. through
Dump
there.
truck even, yeah.
So I'm still working on that. Next is the Centennial Farms. Darrell and I took a trip down the Centennial Farm trail, and there's a gentleman that has been maintaining that trail who we talked to and has been doing, I thought, a commendable job of keeping it in good shape. There is an area way down at the west end of the trail. It's a low spot, and we're going to try to get some chips down there. Okay, so we're working on that. Now, as far as the playscape is concerned, I haven't done anything with that yet, and I think that's next on our list. I think all that takes is a little bit of work with the chips. Each one of these trails, I might add, in my opinion, is different. You've got the Wildlife Sanctuary Trail, which is the quintessential trail for Grosse Ile, in my opinion. It's probably the most beautiful area on Grosse Ile. You've got the trail that I've mentioned in my area, which is for the more adventurous. I mean, it's a long walk, and there's some pretty wild stuff back there, so you got to be careful. But it's still a beautiful area back there.
But the playscape is a spot that's always cluttered up.
Right.
And we have a Kiwanian that goes in.
I was going to
there
get to that, yeah.
Okay, Jerry Page goes in there and picks it up.
Jerry Page?
Yeah.
Now, who's Jerry Page?
He's a member of our Kiwanis Club,
Oh, okay.
but he can't stand to see the clutter that's in the area.
Okay. That gets to our next issue.
Yeah, don't put the pressure on him to do it, because he does this without being asked or told.
Okay.
He's the kind of guy that just feels that this is important to, because the playscape is out of sight, it's out of mind, and it's usually in a state of neglect.
Yeah, I think
Right.
the only person that would use the playscapes would be if you take your grandchildren or children there to, use a playscape, and after a while you want to take a little trek through the woods. The playscape trail is there for you to, and that's
The
about the only people
playscape
that.
trail, though, is, at least the last time I was on it, I would not want to take a grandchild on it, because it wasn't that easy of a walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had to go over trees, and there were a lot of muddy areas and everything.
It's
so-
just not a really suited area.
Yeah, and it runs along, and you can see like the back of Kroger's and things. So it's a trail, but I don't know really how much we
Like a
want
person
to.
that wants to go swimming in an 8-inch pool.
I don't know how much work I'm saying we would want to really put into that.
I'm not asking
But we've
for-
identified it as one of the ones that we maintain, so.
I'm not asking for a decision now, but if I kind of read your comments, is it something that we should just eliminate altogether?
Well, I think maybe we ought to really look at it and see if it really is something that we want to put
Is it worth maintaining?
right. If we
Well,
want to put in our
who's
trail
respon-
booklet
who's
and say,
responsible
this
for
is a
the
good place
playscape?
to go.
Let me find out.
Recreation Department is done.
Who is?
Recreation.
Because our
Department.
booklet says it's a good place to take your grandchildren. And
Who said that?
our booklet said it.
Oh, well, it's not.
So I took a grandchild.
The playscape itself probably is, but.
It was
the-
saying the playscape trail.
But the surrounding, the playscape is not really, it's not very, doesn't look like anybody cares.
Pretty scruffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to find, that's yours, Wally.
Pretty
Sorry about
scruffy.
that.
I was there about a month ago.
Okay. No, no,
There were families at the playscape, and then I walked the trail a little bit, and like you say, I mean, it was pretty muddy and stuff. So, yeah.
should we spend some time and effort to maybe put a load of chips on there?
Are you talking about on the trail, or are you speaking about the approach to the playscape?
I'm talking about the trail.
The trail at the playscape.
That's past the playscape.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Now, there was a
Take more than one load.
there's something, before I have TNT go in there and spread some chips, is there something we should think about that?
I think you should probably concentrate your efforts on the other more friendly trails, if you will. I think, it'd be my opinion that right now we should probably get some chips up to the playscape, but I wouldn't worry about the trail at this point. You get some other work,
Now-
the other trails that you're speaking about, probably
What
more
about-
deserving.
That trail, you know where Meridian School is? And you've got the bike path going.
Mhm.
Well, when you walk down the bike path and it curves, if you keep going, there is a nice trail there.
And it goes back to the soccer fields.
And what's that called? Does that have a name?
I don't
That
think
No.
it has a name.
Well, anyway, that is a really nice trail, and they have like, what do you call it, red-winged hawks. They have all kinds of neat
I
birds
don't
in
think
there.
that's part of the open space. It goes to the open space, but I don't think
Okay,
it's...
I don't know. But I mean, I
Is
walked
that
that
on the
one.
west side of Meridian?
It's
Yeah.
between.
It's on the west side of Meridian. You come
Wally,
out by
why don't
the
you pass that back
soccer
to me,
field.
That's township property.
Is that township property?
Yeah.
But it's, it's never been developed.
But I mean, I've met a lot of nice people on there, and they love
Well,
that
people
trail.
use the trail.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice
Trails
trail.
for-
See, and that's kind of the rural trail that
Yeah.
this group espouses to. We're not paving it and putting white lines on both sides.
And
We're-
it branches. You can come out
It's hard to, you
at
can't
the
tell when you put it up on
soccer
the
field, or you
TV.
can come out.
You're talking about this trail right here. That's
Yep,
what you're talking
yep,
about.
that's it.
Okay, see,
And it's
so
really
that
lovely.
is open space.
Oh, that is, well, I thought that was, it was
Where?
because, right here.
It's on the west side of Meridian, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
the west side of Meridian.
And it's on
It's
the
all,
north side
it's all
of,
wooded. They took a cyclone fence down
Pretty.
along that.
Yeah.
Many years
And
ago.
in fact-
to stop the deer from jumping it.
People
That's on the
like
north
it so
side of
much, they've
Intrepid?
built their own little bridges in there.
Yeah.
On their low spots, they put those pallets so that they can keep
paintball in
using.
there.
okay.
Well, I
They used
didn't
to-
see any
Well,
paintball
they used to
stuff.
paintball in there. They
But
used to have-
it's
they
a
had
delightful,
these couches
it's a
and everything
delightful
in that
trail.
area.
So Intrepid
Couches.
Pond
Yeah,
is
couches.
more
This is what I'm
over
talking
here,
about, south of Meridian School, west of Meridian.
Yeah,
Right in that
exactly,
crowd,
right in there,
You had
yeah.
couches, they took them all out.
Wow.
There was couches in there and there was, Jesus.
Well,
So
my
that's the
husband
way-
and I have been walking it and,
Yeah,
picking
well-
up stuff and everything, and it's a delightful
Well,
trail.
should we just let the, review the
It's closer to
playscape?
salvaging than the playscape trail is, for sure.
Why don't we just
But
look
where
at
does it-
both of them and then decide
Well, where does it
after
go
we
to?
look at them?
Where does that trail go to?
It comes out by the soccer field. There's two branches.
Yeah, I know.
The one branch comes out by the soccer field, and the other branch comes out by that big hill that you slide down.
Okay. But does it,
And trust me, do not go down it on your grandson's sled.
but there's another,
I've done it.
this is another,
Been there, done that.
there's another piece of open space right here.
Yeah,
Now, that's the recreation trail. That goes right, that's
that's
right by the.
yeah, that's a hard trail,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you park your car, there's a lot of parking there. And you walk down on the hard trail.
Mm-hmm.
The hard trail jogs, and if you keep going, then you
Comes
get
out
on the
to
nature
South Bend,
trail.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's really a pretty trail.
That's a pretty corner of the township.
How much
Truly
was
is.
you for spreading the stuff with TNT?
It's 3,200. But that was putting in the drainage and taking out some stumps and putting the side logs.
3,000?
Yep.
200.
Wow.
You're paying for labor is what you're paying.
Yeah. It's, they did a nice job.
No, I'm sure they did a nice job. It's just
It wasn't cheap.
no, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Is that we use the Boy Scouts with that?
Yeah.
We
Well,
tried that. We
Didn't
tried
work.
that. No,
No.
No?
No.
Okay, then we go pay. That's what we do.
that's exactly right.
We pay and we get it done.
That's the
Yep.
decision we made, yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, as far as the playscape, what do you think? Do you want to hold off on doing any work on that at the present time?
Well, I think we ought to review it and then come back with recommendations.
There was a lot of talk about that playscape 1 or 2 boards ago, about that trail. There was one member of the board that really wanted to build a path through there.
What?
That was Pam Cruci.
Yes.
Pam was pushing for that trail for
And
10 years before.
the problem was that she found opposition from our police department, saying that they couldn't get back there in case they needed to.
That's right.
Well,
Well, it's not an easy trail to walk.
But the
Okay,
playscape,
but
yeah.
but the thing is, when you're in a secluded spot like that, when you're out of sight, you're out of mind, and it makes it very difficult for the police to
Yeah.
to maintain
Right.
order
Yeah.
after dark.
The original plan was to put that trail all the way out to Meridian.
Right.
But the police department said they couldn't support that, but they would support a loop trail.
I think that
That's
you
what we
might
have
find a little different attitude towards that now. You got a different police chief. The kids aren't out there like they used to be, you know? Doing what
What's
they
gonna
want to do, you
happen,
know?
what's gonna happen to the playscape? Is it gonna
gonna
stay there?
You know, a lot of people talk about tearing it down. It's the old sealed wood, the old preservative
Right.
wood,
Yeah.
and there's some concern about using it. I'm not concerned about it, but there are people who are.
A lot of communities have had to tear those out.
And Tim, every year or so, has been treating it, preserving it, and using the same preservative that we use on the bridges on the bike paths. And, you know, it's kept up, but you get that little element that gets up there that wants to graffiti it and
Yeah.
spray paint it and spread things around that the rest of the world doesn't appreciate. And so it's all a matter of policing the playscape. And, you know, it's hard to tear something down that this community put together
Right.
so many years. Joe Ramage
Yeah.
was the person who was
Yeah.
so much
It was even
behind
thought they
it.
were gonna move it.
No, you can't move it.
I know that, but I mean, that's what we thought, to push it over
Well-
there to,
Just
put a
because
basketball
of
court or
its
something
condition
like
and
that.
its structure, or condition and its material of construction, we wouldn't be able to move it. We'll build a new one, but not.
Okay.
Well,
All
there's
right, I
such a
think,
shortage of parks in this town.
Well, there's a playscape potential down right at Centennial Farm that could be built upon. Right next to the swings and the teeter-totters, there's a spot big enough there. There's an open field in that corner that would be an ideal playscape spot. There's a lot of places that we could do that. And, you know, we do have a shortage. So I'm not saying that we should tear down what we've got. But, you know, if
You
you
got
really
that.
believe in that there's a shortage, Bert, I agree with you, and that we have places to put parks.
there's,
We have property
No,
to the
I'm not
north
saying
end.
that we need to keep that. I'm just saying, I was pretty shocked when I moved here at how few places there are.
yeah.
But, I mean, one thing that we could do is we could just post a sign, all these parents, because when I was there were families there, and all these parents have smartphones, and they could email, you know, instead of a survey, but you would be able to connect with the users and find out, you know, what do they think about the playscape, and what do they think about a trail.
Well, for the meantime, why don't we just sit tight on the playscape trail for a while
Well,
until we see what happens.
If we review it and look into and see if we could open it out to the road. Find out what really is the status of that trail
Yeah.
before we make a decision.
Right now, the only people that would probably want to use that Playscape trail would be those people that go back there with their kids to play in the Playscape and say, okay, well, let's take a little nature walk. That's,
Yeah.
in my opinion, that's what it's for. Okay? Whereas the other trails come out to main roads where you go there and you take your bike through or you walk through. I see a lot of people, but let's hold off on, I'm not going to spend any money on the Playscape until let's give it a little bit of soak time.
Take your limited funds and use them on the other areas that
Okay.
you can shine them up from a C to a B instead of working from a D minus,
Okay. All right.
Professor.
All right, let's see. We have no public comments, so let's go right into the discussion and action items. The next three items kind of pertain to what we decided, what we felt that we wanted to do as a result of the town hall meetings that we had. First of all is to expand the surveillance of open spaces, and Bert made a suggestion about Friends of Open Spaces. Basically, what this means is to each one of us are responsible for a series of open spaces. And quite frankly, I think we got ourselves spread too thin. So we thought what we might want to do is to select or ask people who live next to these open spaces to see if they would want to act as assistant overseers or people who would just take it upon themselves to look at the area and help us remediate any items that have to be corrected, or else to keep an eye on it for us. So I'd like to open it up for discussion. What do you think? We would criticize the fact that we don't take care of our open spaces the way that we should. That statement was made in the town hall meetings. And-
To answer that statement, step up or step away is my answer. Those who would criticize what we do better back off.
Whoops, excuse me.
I think we just folded up here. Okay, we're back.
You're
Don't
so
do that
strong
again.
down there.
I just rail at people that will complain and squawk about what this needs to be done and how that needs to look. And you say, well, will you help us? Oh, no, I haven't got time. You know, it's baloney.
Well, there is a
It
sense,
might not get done then. You don't have time.
the few people that came, I got the sense that they regarded the open spaces as ours, the open space committee, rather than everybody's,
rather
the
than the
township.
communities.
And that always happens.
It's
So you
usually
need to be-
usually the people that talk, that's what you're going to get from them. Because people that are really serious about it, they go ahead and do.
Yeah.
They don't talk. Just like I mentioned to you before, the man, the Kiwanian that goes over to he rented to the Playscape because it was written up in the old camera that it was really in a state of neglect. And he did it on his own. Nobody asked him to. He just went ahead and did it. And that's what people do.
Well, that's quite
Right.
frankly, this is what Darrell and I discovered. We went through the Centennial Farm. We found out, who does this? This thing is mowed. He goes, and we were walking out and we talked to this one fella and he said, yeah, I do that. You do? Yeah. He said, I have a big mower and I just go through and take care, but I can't do the far east end. To your point, nobody asked him to do it. He just took it upon himself. And that trail, the Centennial Farm Trail, it doesn't have chips, but it's well maintained.
I think Bert's idea of Friends of the Open Spaces is a great idea. We just have to figure out a way to get friends.
Right.
Well, what I was going to, this is just a suggestion. One idea is to, and I think I did this before but didn't follow through on it, a list of the people whose property abuts up to open space. Maybe send them a letter stating, here's the issue. Can you help us out? Would you be agreed to just, all you have to do is keep an eye on it, walk through it maybe once in a while, and report anything that you see. You don't have to come to meetings, you don't have to be on a committee. It's just, and it's just to help us sort of maintain the open spaces.
I think, I think there are a lot of these people whose property abuts open space. If one or two of the residents would go ahead and start doing it, they'd just follow suit.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I think that's a good idea to start off with that.
Okay.
And then if need be, we can expand it and make it more, keep expanding it as we need it.
So what you're saying is to select 2 or 3 people in each piece of property?
Sure, because, we have that gentleman last year who spread the mulch on the wildlife sanctuary.
Yeah.
And we're finding pockets of people who are already doing that. So if we just keep expanding it,
You got
know.
you got the correct idea.
yeah,
If it, by example, you can do a heck of a lot.
Okay, so,
And rather than, finger point or whatever it is, just, hey, I'm gonna devote so many hours of
and
my
making
time.
sure that we give them a little thank you
recognition,
and
yeah.
say, we appreciate we recognize what you're doing, we appreciate it. People may not want their names to be known, but, I think last year, didn't we bring it to the township and they thanked the gentleman that was doing it at the wildlife sanctuary?
Yeah, and I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm trying to think of it too, that's
Okay,
why I
what do you
keep
think
saying
we
the
should do
gentleman.
on this? Should we write a letter to certain individuals or not? Or what's your suggestion to get this thing?
I think that, I would suggest you maybe start with is just to write a, kind of like an open letter to the editor of the Yield Camera and
Well-
tell the story that we have just discussed, and that is that people who care will go out and do things to improve the properties that are essentially adjacent to them, that are open space.
Some of these, like the people that you see on the trails that use it frequently, they may not be the ones that live adjacent to it.
Right, right.
And I think it would be very time consuming, for you or somebody else.
Yes.
You'd have to go to the township rolls to find out who
Yeah.
lives here.
Yeah.
So maybe, maybe Art, you're right, a letter, at least to start, a contact in the Yield Camera
I
would
think
be-
that, by example, you can
Yeah.
get a lot of people.
That's a good start. The problem I have is, one, how many people actually get the Yield Camera?
Well, I don't know, but.
And two, why don't we start using our website
That's
and
what I was
Oh,
start
you can do that.
using that as a tool to communicate with
Well, the
people?
website, and of course, a lot of people don't use the
They
website either.
don't do that either, but if you start putting
If you
out,
on a television, if you on a website,
Yeah.
few of them with some flyers at the post office.
put
few
up
of them
some
talking to your
flyers
neighbor,
around
you know.
town.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think-
what I'm hearing
It's
then
low
is just
density,
an article.
Low
density.
density, right.
You know,
Article in the
But-
paper.
It isn't
But
something.
enough, so that you're
It
gonna
is-
start capturing
It isn't
stuff.
gonna happen something like overnight.
No,
it's
no, it
gonna
won't
evolve.
happen.
This is
But
gonna be an evolution.
You gotta plant it, and then
Yeah.
it starts
I'll
growing.
give you a good story about that, if you got 30 seconds. Many years ago, when the township was running the golf course as a private entity, I had a guy come to me and said, we could probably run that golf course with volunteers and open it up to the public. And he persisted. And he took me, a non-golfer, out to a golf course in Toledo, a 10-hole course, believe it or not. And he said, look, this is all run by volunteers. There is nobody on a payroll here. They cut grass, they take care of their own fairways, they pick up their trash, there's people that man their clubhouse, all for free. That's happening right at our golf course now, and it's taken 6 years, and that's Bill Morrow.
Yeah.
You know, Bill has been the real spark plug behind, and so don't expect this is gonna work in 15 minutes.
No.
But in 5 years it might.
Okay.
Well, the
All right.
thing is, the communities are having less and less monies that they can just spend to do all this.
Exactly.
People have sort of lost the community spirit concept.
It's not what I can do, it's what can you do
So
for
let's
me.
just start
Yeah.
generating low-key.
Okay.
Let's
We'll try it and see what happens.
take care of what we have, love it, treasure it.
Now,
take care of
there's two things, there's two areas that I don't believe that we, as far as the wildlife sanctuary is concerned, I think the ladies from the garden club are about the best friends we can have for that area.
Yeah.
I really
But see,
do.
they even have people helping them.
Yeah.
The gentleman across the street comes and mows the grass
And as far as
because he
Centennial
saw the
Farms,
ladies trying to
it
do
grows-
it.
Somebody from the rec
slowly.
commission.
Yep.
That guy lives up the island, too.
Hmm?
He's not from the island.
He's not even from the island.
I mean, he has that house there.
He has a house there, he doesn't live in it,
No,
but he
was gonna
comes
move
there
up
and works
north
on
and
it. Mm-hmm.
He came and bought that house instead. But yeah, he takes very
Yeah.
good care.
Now, I'll put together a draft of an article for the website and for the camera, but I want to give it to you first. Let
Okay.
you chew on it, change it, revise it. The only thing I'm concerned about is if, should I mention anything, if you see anything gross misbehavior of any kind, such as, mischief going on, or else a powered vehicle, report that directly to the police department.
Well,
Yeah,
that should be something that we.
You should do that anyway.
That's right, it should be second nature to
Okay.
us.
Now, if they see something that they should bring to our attention, maybe there's, in the Manchester Woods, maybe there's an area in there that I've never looked at. They say, you should look at this, and this needs to be taken care of. Who should they contact?
Now, people need a contact point.
Yeah, and who should that be?
You.
Okay, all right. Instead of the,
Give Mr. Greenway's open space to this community, Cliff.
Okay.
You know, it's a mantle you wear.
And you can't step down either.
We've made our point.
we'll try.
Now, that
Any
doesn't
other
mean,
questions?
now, Cliff, that doesn't mean that you're the only one that has to
To the
take
primary.
responsibility to respond. You can delegate and say,
He's the face of the.
right, you're the face,
Okay,
but,
but
you
I'm-
know,
You know the
it's
other
your
face?
team.
Okay, what I'm
You know
going to
the other
do,
face?
what I'm going to do is, I'll take the call, but I might ask you or you, or
Sure.
you, it depends on who it is.
Exactly,
Who's the overseer,
right,
to go out, you take a look at it, and let's get it corrected.
right, that's what
Okay?
we're here for.
But I'm not gonna go
Support.
out and do it myself.
Nope,
Right.
Okay, good enough.
no,
Understand, okay.
good deal.
Okay, that's the way we'll handle that issue. I think we still have to publish a revised open space and trail guide. How do we get that started?
Well, first off, we're gonna have to make a decision on the playscape before we totally revise the trail booklet, because you want to know what to do with the playscape in there. And you want to review that other trail, because if you're going to start maintaining that trail, you want to be able to put that in your,
Yeah, well, let's
Booklet.
talk about those, the two revisions, or three revisions I see we
Yeah.
have to make. As far as the trails is concerned, the playscape, my gut feeling is I don't want to, we can still leave it in while we're trying to decide what we're gonna do with it. I mean, that's my knee-jerk reaction to right now. We have to eliminate the one we have at the,
right,
at the dump, okay? And the Manchester Trail has to be revised based on what our findings are. The other thing is, should we spend some time for an introductory letter to give the residents better information on how this thing got started and where we're at and where we're going? We really, In other words, there seems to be a big mystery as to how did this thing got started, and what is the open space program? Is it 5 people who own it? Is it and what about the conservancy? How does it tie into the conservancy? There's a couple of things that came out of this meeting, but I think a little bit of like an educational narrative at the beginning.
Of the
would
booklet,
help. Yeah,
the
the booklet,
pamphlet,
yeah.
okay.
You know, there's fits and starts and things like this that I'll express some frustration at, because I can see us going through those same fits and starts. And what I'm talking about, an example, I have a young lady on the Bike Path Committee. Her name is Jane Fijo.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of her work? Video work?
No.
She put together a video on the bike to school day. And it just had stills and it had short videotapes, and it's about a 10-minute presentation. I have yet to see it on GITV, and yet we've got it.
Why do they
We
put it
can't,
on?
we can't put our, you know, the little story about the candle under a bushel basket. We need to make a little 10-minute video about the sanctuary with some stills and some, you know, show a raccoon running through there and a deer and,
Yeah.
no, I'm not being schmaltzy
No,
about
no,
it.
I agree with
People
you.
don't know what's there.
I know.
And, you know, if you see 350 bicycles going to school here, that's something.
Yeah.
You don't see 350
Well,
bicycles
the
going anymore.
last pamphlet that we published, we mailed to every resident on the island.
And what do we get out of it?
That's the
And
problem.
yet, when
You
we
get
put
nothing
the
out of
bench
it.
in
Yeah.
the nature trail, we had the photographer there, and it still has not been in the EO camera.
Yeah, I know.
So we can't rely on just one area
No,
to
you
get our
can't.
message out.
But what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, I
If
hear
we're
ya.
gonna go through these efforts, mailing one to every resident,
What's that gonna do?
at least half of them don't care,
Yeah, right.
because that's
Yeah.
not their interest.
Right.
Those folks may be boaters, they may be, you know, amateur photographers, they may be bowlers, they may not be interested in
What do we do then?
So I think you make something that's presented by other media. You put it in a newspaper, you put it on the television, you put it on the website, and let's push to get them publicized that way. Because I don't see you sending out 4,000 folders.
Yeah, it ain't gonna do it. And it doesn't do
We
it.
did it last time.
That's
Yeah, they did- what did we get
that's
out of it?
because you didn't have the technology to do what you do today. I bet you get better penetration
But
electronically.
we just updated the website, right?
Mhm.
We've got the cable TV capability. We need to start utilizing everything that we have. Yeah.
I think that you got to kind of look at it this way, and that is that you should have an updated brochure, or call it what you want, as far as where the trails are. But to get it in the hands of everybody by just giving them a mailing, I think that's wasted time. I think that it should be made available for, you pick it up if you'd like to get a copy of it, and have it made available like down at the counter downstairs, right below where we are right now. You have it so that if
But we
you-
could also have a copy of it on our open space
Oh,
website.
Yeah,
And
well,
you
that
could put a
that you
half-
can, that doesn't
Yeah,
cost you
yeah,
anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think we need to have the booklet.
Yes.
Now, how we distribute it and how we get it out to the people,
Okay.
Desktop
is-
publishing makes booklets real easy to make.
it does.
I think the idea is that it should be available so that if people are interested in it, then they can get it.
Okay.
But if you
they're not-
don't know if you
But if you
really
don't
don't know
know,
about it, then you don't know.
You don't ask. I never knew we had one
Right.
until I joined this committee.
You know, the Rotary just sent out the updated phone book, which probably is a missed opportunity if we had partnered with them to get it in the hands.
But they
of
do it every
everybody.
2 years.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And I was
that's 2
thinking
years
that
away,
that
yeah.
might be good. The history of Grosio and the in the directory of the Rotary group is excellent.
Channels?
No,
No.
No,
No,
I'm just
the-
asking you, have you seen this last version
Yeah.
of Channels?
I hardly ever read it.
Channels? Yeah, well, because of its past history, it's not very interesting. But this last one was a dandy. You know, and we have been given carte blanche, the open opportunity for Bike Path, put a full page ad in it. We should be able to do that with open space too. And it doesn't cost you anything. Get that out there.
Okay, here's what I'm hearing. We need a revised booklet, number one. I think we're all in
Yes.
agreement there. Number two, we shouldn't just mail it out to everybody. What we should do is make it available on the website, make it available at the Township Hall, and use the Channels magazine as a means of getting that information out. Am I correct?
I think you should go to new people. New
Giving
people
it
come
to
the
new
island.
people who come on the island, I
that's-
think
that's
it's
the
an
next
excellent
point.
idea.
So you don't have to make 4,400, you make 100 of them.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
you desktop publish them.
So you can print them when you run
You
out.
can print them when you run out,
Now,
exactly
here's
right.
here's the issue. With the way the booklet is right now, we have used Whipple printing many times for publications. They, being Whipple printing, have the basic information for the open space trail for this booklet. They have this in their computer file. And it won't take too much trouble to update this, make a few changes on it, and Whipple Printing can give us new booklets.
And will they give us an electronic copy so we can put it electronically in our system?
I don't see any reason why they can't. They do have the technology.
Who's the person, are you sending it out to
Mm-hmm.
new residents?
Right, okay, that's the next thing, Woody.
We need someone.
We need somebody to do that for us.
I do it, but I write like shit.
You don't, all you have to do is just,
Yeah, mail it.
yeah, in other words, the way it will work, who was doing this for me? It was,
A moment.
it wasn't Pat Selby, it was predecessor, it was,
Was Ruth somebody?
Rose?
Rose.
Rose.
Ellison was doing
Rose,
it.
okay.
And basically, all she'd do, she had a stack of these booklets, and then the township keeps records of new people when they come to the island. She'd pick up the new list, okay? She had a little cover letter that she wrote, like, "Welcome to Grosseal," and a couple of little paragraphs. She'd put this in an envelope along with the letter and send it to the individuals who moved to the island.
The Conservancy does that. And so maybe we could partner with them. And then it would be an opportunity for both explanations, you know, both groups to explain and to explain the difference.
Could you contact the Conservancy and
Yeah.
see if we could
You know,
partner with them?
yeah. I
Set
mean,
it up so that, and it was very simple. In other words, once we get it going, is that, don't know whether Lori does that or what, but there's a list of,
Right, yeah, Joanne Grunland gets it. The thing is that you don't know if somebody's new to the island or if they just moved from one house to another, but
you
it's,
don't
Well,
really.
this is something that.
We don't have a welcome wagon, do we?
No,
No.
That
not
ended
not
20 years
anymore.
ago.
But,
See, that'd be perfect.
you know, if.
But, you know, if that list that they make, and I get a copy of it for Kiwanis, if they would actually, because most of the time, it doesn't give two names. You know, like, for example, instead of saying Art and Clara Kester, that's not the way it come out. It would either come out Clara Kester or Art Kester. But the idea is, what they need to do to make that list that they send out to everybody, to the different organizations, and also they send it to the realtors and places like that. What they could do is, if you move from one location on Grosseal to another location on Grosseal, they should tell you where you came, you know, you put that in there. You came from north end, moved to the south end, or whatever it happens to be. The idea is that you would know whether they're new to the island or not. Because if they're not new to the island, you're not gonna feed them very much new information. But if
Yeah,
they're
but I guess it's not that big of a deal, but
I don't
it's
know,
just,
but you get 10
it's
people a year like that.
But it's a courtesy thing too,
right.
that they should be melted into the community by giving them some information about the particulars relative to living on the island.
Oh,
Some of the advantages of living on the island would be beneficial.
So who would pay for the mailing? I mean, right now, the Conservancy pays
Well,
for its
right, as a-
mailing.
The Open Space Maintenance Fund paid for the mailing to each resident.
So
Wait a minute, excuse me, let me understand your question. You talk about,
if we did a partnership with the Conservancy and mailed a joint mailing to the new people,
which would be the Open Space and the Conservancy combined, then I would say the Open Space Maintenance Fund would pay for that mailing.
okay, I mean, I
That's what
can.
we did that last time.
How much did that cost us?
It cost us about maybe 45 cents for each mailing.
Okay, so how many people
Let's
did you
say,
say came to the island in a month?
let's say 50 people.
50 people coming to the
Yeah.
island?
Who knows?
I understand.
I just guessed.
It isn't
Yeah,
that many.
I'm not sure how many Joanne sends out.
So that's 25, that's maybe 25, 30 bucks a month for.
Okay, I'm just
postage.
curious how much,
Yeah,
Well, those that I get, they send a list to me
Okay,
as a Quanian, okay? They send the list to me, but there are probably about 25 names on it
every month.
every month, yeah.
okay.
But again, that you can't tell from what I've got is whether or not they move from this location on the island to this location
Yeah.
on the island, or whether they move from Trenton here, or whether they move from California here.
Well,
Well,
Lori should be able to tell us that.
Well, you
Well, she-
really, who cares? If they move, there's a new address. If we catch
Okay,
them moving
all right.
from Grow Road.
Yes, if you
to,
miss by 10%, you
so
throw
it says
away
10%, I
$10.
don't worry.
Okay, I'm just
You know, I just-
Yeah, don't worry about
I
that.
think that's a non-issue. I
Yeah.
think we're zeroing in better on,
I'll mention that in one of the previous, a couple years ago, in the Conservancy newsletter, Pat Selby did write an article about what the difference was between open space and the Conservancy, so we can resurrect that article and update it, and that
And
could be
what I
part
want
of
to
the
do, I want to
mailing.
include that in this pamphlet here.
So-
Okay. Let me repeat, make sure I understand. First of all, we're going to update this booklet, okay? And I'll give it a first draft, first crack. I want you to review it, make sure that.
What part are you gonna review? Just the open space part, or are you gonna review the whole thing?
We're gonna do the whole thing. We're gonna, in other words, include I wanna put the information on the Conservancy in here. I wanna update the trail information. And then, once we get this complete, and after we have a proper review by everybody, then I'll give this to Whipple Printing, and we'll print out a bunch of copies. They will be made available on the website electronically, and they will be available here at the township office, and also they will be sent to everybody who comes to Grosse Ile.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sounds like a fertile idea.
Okay? And I want to put something in there about the dump the junk too, Woody. About our public service projects. Okay?
You might want to. I wonder if everything should be in the brochure, or if there should be, like, the brochure should be trails, and then separate documents that would explain about the public service projects, the Conservancy, and open space, and the history and stuff. I mean, you can
Yeah, that's a
draft it all,
possibility. That's a
and we'll
Yeah. I think,
opine on
as
it.
far as the trails and the open space location, I think this booklet here, with the committee put it together, did a nice job of combining, this is the trail guide, and it's also where the open spaces are located. but it doesn't go into the details. And I think what you're saying, you want to make that a separate insert?
Maybe. I mean, let's see what you come up with, and then we'll see how,
Yeah.
you know,
At least, I'll give you something to chew on. How's
Right.
that sound? Okay.
sounds good.
Pat?
Well, let's think about what we really are trying to accomplish. I mean, are we trying to accomplish everything in one booklet? Or is that something that we want people to just sort of keep and say, oh, it's a beautiful day today. Let me just quick grab this and go on a
Right.
trail.
Well, I'd like, Pat brought up, or Bert, you brought up an idea of making it as, we'll do this, and I'd hope that you would keep it. Don't throw it in the trash. Keep it. Because this tells you what we got.
Right.
And this other information gives you it's something that, which I was a little bit upset about when we had our town hall meetings, was that people really didn't know what in the world the open space program was.
Right.
Okay, or is. And what
Because
the Conservancy is.
I think most families, being a mother, we always kept a file on family activities. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? How are we going to do it? To me, if you have something on the trails, that's where the families would stick it. In their, what do we do on a afternoon type thing with the family, or what do I do when I want to relax? The other is educational, historical, and I think we should have a different venue for getting that information out.
I think
I
what you
agree
want
with
is
Bert.
separate. You want this, talk about.
That's
here's where they're-
trails.
Here's where they're located. Here's where they're located. is what-
Now, pardon as well, if we had a trail policy, that would be a good place to put a trail policy in. So they would sort of
There's
know
nothing
how to
wrong
get
with
around.
that. I don't know why you're saying that. I don't think there's a thing wrong with the trail policy. I
Yeah.
think that it needed to be presented a hell of a lot different than
Yeah.
it did.
But I mean, that is the place where we would want to put a trail policy.
Yeah.
So that everybody can get familiar and know what they're doing. I'm really funny, when I'm out walking in the woods, I want to make darn sure I don't go onto somebody's private property and different things like that. And somebody said to me, well, can we go in on the trail at night? Well, can they or can't they? I'm not quite sure if they
You know,
can or can't.
most of our
but,
public
you know.
properties are limited to dusk.
But see, we need an easy place so people can answer that.
There was an ordinance for the
Yeah.
recreation facilities down here by the airport. That was
But the
public.
ordinance they have in that little park at the end of Parkway is good. I went down there, I read it, I knew exactly how I should behave there. And I really think we need to put something like that in the trails booklet.
Well, the purpose of this.
In other
booklet
words, you'd have to do 2 revisions or something. You'd have to revise the booklet and get the policy approved to put in it.
Well, let's
two
talk
steps.
How
about
we
this.
use our leisure properties.
I think what you want to do, these are where, this booklet describes the locations of all the open spaces on Grosse Hill and gives a very brief description of where they are and what they are. Okay? It also is a trail guide. It shows you where the 4 trails are
Right.
and what some of the things to look for when you go to these trails.
Right.
That's all this is. And there's a little bit of verbiage in the front. You know.
Yep.
But what it doesn't do, it doesn't give you a history of the open space program.
Right.
So, what you're saying is that we should have a separate publication for that.
Yeah, I mean, it can still be in the same mailing, but
Yeah.
not part of the,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. All right. I'll take a look at this and I'll begin to revise it. Bert, could you get together with the Conservancy? Maybe you could construct this other information.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the objective here is we're not going to mail this to every household. We'll have it available and just make sure that it's electronically available for the website. And also, maybe at the township board meetings, you can have copies of this available at the back table.
Anytime that you have a public gathering place, you can put a half a dozen of those.
Yeah.
You know, the favorite place that we see is the little bulletin board down by the post office.
Yeah.
You want to get something going on in this island, you stick a dozen of them in there. People
Will they
pick 'em
allow,
up.
I think they'll allow.
They always do.
Where? Where?
The little place where you can put publications
Yeah.
at the post office
Oh, I
entrance.
see.
Yeah, when you put them downstairs, sometimes they get put in that rack that's right in the corner,
And you get lost.
and they get lost.
Mhm.
Unless you go down there and ask for it, then they'll give it to you, but they're not laying out there so you can look at it. Okay. All right, that's what we'll do. Are
I
there?
think bottom line, what we're saying is we want more visibility of what we're doing.
That's right, because that was quite evident.
Right.
People didn't know what the hell, pardon my French, what we were doing.
Right.
Okay, let me just go around the table. Is there anything else that we should be talking about or doing? Bert?
Nope.
Pat?
Nope.
Wally? Or, we mean, Woody?
That's Wally, this is Woody.
Yes.
Don't
Okay.
mix this up, whatever you
Please
do.
don't.
Listen, I
Yeah.
get my names correctly. That's Wally Clark and Woody Pozas.
That's
right?
good, that's
Okay.
close.
I'm
Okay.
post-a-sack in your paper, so.
Go ahead, Woody. Anything?
Nothing.
Wally,
There
anything?
is efforts going on with the township to have meetings on demand and agendas on demand. We are televising, and if you want to watch a meeting other than the time when it's actually broadcast, you'll be able to do so.
Okay.
Several communities, or several of the commissions already have that capability. And they also have had a meeting, and I think, didn't you attend the meeting on minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Minute,
did.
we're trying to get the minutes and the agendas and out there, because sometimes people will say, well, I don't know what's going on. And why don't you know what's going on? Because you don't have the access to it. Now we're gonna have access
Now,
to
when we
minutes.
prepare the minutes, I've been giving those to, I give those to Carol Knopp, and she puts them on minutes on demand.
Right now, she has been somewhat volunteered. I don't even know if she knows it or not, but
Okay.
But there
Now,
are
what
several,
about-
several commissions and committees that didn't have that.
What a-
DPS being primary.
What about the agenda? When we publish the agenda,
You give the agenda to them ahead of time, and they'll post
To
it
who?
here at Township, oh, Carol.
okay, because I've been giving it also, I email it to Ted, ask him to put it on the website.
You still have to post it here at Township Hall. So you give to
I
Carol.
give a copy to Carol.
Yeah, then-
So in other words, if I give Carol the agenda, and I give Carol copies of the minutes,
Mhm.
it's all taken care
Yeah,
of.
you're gonna not see draft minutes published, you're gonna see approved minutes published. So
Junk.
when we come here next month, there's
I'll
gonna be
tell
a
you
motion
about
to
it.
approve the minutes from this meeting, and then those minutes will be turned in.
Question,
And they don't have to be 10 pages, I know you know that.
yeah.
Some folks like to read everything.
The minutes are,
Please.
the minutes do not say, John said this, or Bill said that.
No.
Here was the subject, here was the action, period. Should we have a meeting for July or August?
Might as well.
Okay,
I think we've got so much going on that we
Yeah,
want
you
to
can't
keep the
lose your
momentum
Let's
going.
keep it
Okay.
going.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah.
when you're
Art?
coming in starting now, let's not drop out for 2 months and come back
And
again.
come back in September and expect everybody to
Art, do you have
remember us.
anything?
It doesn't work.
No, I don't have anything, but I think the Island Beautification Committee, I think that we have followed the idea of getting the agenda and the minutes out for every meeting in advance, period.
okay,
That this is just second nature to us, and we've been doing this for 25 years.
Yep.
yeah.
So I don't
Well,
think...
we have our agendas in advance anyway. You just have to give one more distribution to,
No, but
Yeah,
I'm talking about as far as the minutes are concerned.
Yeah.
The only difference in the minutes is that the minutes that we send out have not been approved yet by the committee.
right.
They won't be put into archive until they're approved.
Yeah. Well, that's a change in what it did. But for 25 years now, we've been doing it this way, where we have the minutes. And of course, we have, the thing that I don't like to see in minutes is people's proper names spelled incorrectly. Because this is a record that goes down You know, it's being preserved all the time.
Your name's spelled wrong, Molly?
So is that August 5th? Is that the next day?
Well,
August what?
Is that the fifth?
I just don't
Oh,
like to see
okay.
proper
Yeah,
names
I
misspelled.
agree.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
I think it's most important to spell a name properly. I'm picking on you now.
I know that.
But you got thick skin. Spell the name right and pronounce it properly.
Right.
That's respectful.
I think that this is just a courtesy thing that should be done.
Say it. Posiak.
Posiask. If you were,
Posiask, okay.
if you were Polish, you would
Posiask.
pronounce it
Posy what?
Pociask. Posiask.
Ask?
Ask.
Yeah.
Make sure you say the K, okay.
If you say it that way, you'll
Yes.
spell it correctly.
Yeah.
Posiaks.
And if you were Polish, you would pronounce it Pociask.
Joss,
Yeah, Pociask. And Pociask is the guy who tends the stove.
what do you think my mother's maiden name was?
So what happened?
Okay, is there any
Tashkevich.
other issues? If not,
Blaskevich?
Patashkevich,
close it out.
P-T-A-S-C-K-I-E-W-I-C-Z.
all those in favor of
You
adjourning?
gotta learn how to do it.
Second.
So
Motion,
moved.
So what happened?
meeting's
Oh.
done.
We're finished.